Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. This is the WINRAD Broadcasting Service, and I am Walter Hartley, bringing you the evening news on this Wednesday, April the 1st, 2026. We are now in the 33rd day of the war with Iran. Tonight, the President of the United States will address the nation at 9 o'clock Eastern Time regarding the war. Earlier today, he said the conflict could end in 2 to 3 weeks and that Iran does not need to make a deal for him to stop the bombing. He told allied nations to go get their own oil. An Iranian missile struck an oil tanker off the coast of Qatar. 3 waves of Iranian missiles hit Israel this morning as Jews around the world prepared for the first night of Passover. And the stock market posted its best day in nearly a year on the possibility, however uncertain, that this war may be approaching its end. We have a great deal to tell you. We go first to Edward James Whitmore in Washington.
The president's tone shifted today in a way that caught Washington off guard. For weeks, he has insisted that Iran is eager for a deal. Today, he said the opposite. Iran does not have to make a deal, he told reporters at the White House. He said the United States will finish its operations in Iran within 2 to 3 weeks and then leave. He said gas prices will tumble the moment the military departs. He also said something that no one in the administration has said publicly before. According to the Wall Street Journal, the president told White House staff he would be open to ending the war without reopening the Strait of Hormuz. That single statement moved markets around the world. The Dow posted its best day in nearly a year. Asian markets followed overnight. Japan's Nikkei surged 4%. South Korea's Kospi rose 6.4%. But the president also escalated his rhetoric toward American allies. In a post on his social media platform, he told countries that refused to join the war to go to the Strait of Hormuz and just take their oil. He singled out the United Kingdom, saying it had refused to get involved in what he called the decapitation of Iran. He added that the United States will not be there to help them anymore. In an interview with the Daily Telegraph, he suggested he would reconsider American membership in NATO after the war. Secretary of State Rubio told Fox News that the United States is on or ahead of schedule on each of its 4 military objectives and can see the finish line. He said there is potential for a direct meeting with Iranian officials at some point. Tonight, the White House announced the president will deliver a formal address to the nation at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The subject is Iran. Iran's response was measured but firm. Foreign Minister Araghchi told Al Jazeera that Tehran has zero trust in the United States. He said messages have been exchanged with Envoy Witkoff through intermediaries, but that no negotiations exist. He said Iran has not responded to the American 15-point proposal. He contradicted the president's claim that Tehran had agreed to most of those points. And he said Iran is prepared for at least 6 months of war. His words, "We do not set any deadlines for defending ourselves. We will defend our country and our people as far as necessary and by any means required."
Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We go now to Theodore Charles Bennett overseas.
The missiles have not paused for diplomacy. Iran's Revolutionary Guard fired 3 waves of ballistic missiles at Israel within a single hour this morning on the eve of Passover. At least 10 people were injured, including a young girl who is in critical condition. A boy was hospitalized in moderate condition. The missiles struck Bnei Brak and surrounding areas in central Israel, setting vehicles ablaze and damaging residential buildings. It was one of the most concentrated barrages in weeks. The Israeli military intercepted a 4th attack later in the day and also shot down a Houthi projectile fired from Yemen targeting southern Israel. At sea, an Iranian missile struck an oil tanker in Qatar's territorial waters. Qatar's defense ministry confirmed that 1 of 3 missiles launched from Iran hit the vessel. No injuries were reported. This is the 2nd commercial tanker struck this week, following the attack on a Kuwaiti vessel off Dubai. The Revolutionary Guard also threatened American technology companies operating in the Gulf, saying their facilities would be targeted beginning at 8 o'clock Tehran time tonight in retaliation for the assassination of Iranian officials. The Guard's statement did not name specific companies, but the threat puts facilities across the Gulf on alert. Inside Iran, the bombing continues across the country. Strikes hit pharmaceutical manufacturing facilities in Tehran, destroying a research and development department that Iranian officials said dealt a blow to the national medical supply chain. A Shiite mosque and religious center in Zanjan was struck, killing 3 people. A passenger pier in Bandar Abbas was bombed. A desalination plant on Qeshm Island was knocked out of service. Steel plants in Isfahan and Farrokhshar were hit. Explosions were reported in Avaz, Shiraz, Karaj, Kermanshah, and Bandar Abbas. Thick black smoke was visible over Tehran on Wednesday morning. In Lebanon, Israel killed a senior Hezbollah commander in a naval strike on Beirut. The military identified him as the commander of Hezbollah's Southern Front unit. Israel's defense minister said homes in southern Lebanon would be demolished and that hundreds of thousands of displaced Lebanese would not be allowed to return. More than 1,268 people have been killed in Lebanon since March the 2nd. 1.2 million have been displaced. An Iraqi armed group warned that if American troops use Kuwaiti territory to launch a ground invasion of Iran, it would escalate the conflict into all-out war. And Bahrain has circulated a revised United Nations Security Council draft resolution authorizing all necessary means to protect commercial shipping in and around the Strait of Hormuz. An earlier version explicitly invoked Chapter 7 enforcement powers. The revised draft softens that language but retains the core authorization. And with that, I send it back to you, Walter.
More than 3,000 people have now been killed across the Middle East since this war began on February the 28th. More than 1,900 in Iran, more than 1,200 in Lebanon, 19 in Israel, 13 American service members killed in action, 2 more from non-combat causes. Tonight, the president will speak to the nation. What he says at 9 o'clock will shape what happens next. Whether the war ends in weeks, as he promises, or whether it stretches for the 6 months Iran says it is prepared to fight, no one can say. What we can say is this: the missiles flew today on the eve of Passover. They flew on the Wednesday of Holy Week, and somewhere in the Gulf, an oil tanker is burning. This is a night for prayer, ladies and gentlemen. For those celebrating Passover tonight, we wish you a peaceful Seder. For those observing Holy Week, may this Wednesday bring you closer to the meaning of what lies ahead on Sunday. For the fighting men and women in uniform, for the families in Tehran and Beirut and Tel Aviv and the Persian Gulf, and for the 20,000 sailors still stranded in the Strait of Hormuz, hold them close. This is Walter Hartley for the WINRAD Broadcasting Service. And now, a word from our friends at the Griadio Vintage Wireless Company. In uncertain times, there is comfort in a voice you trust coming through a speaker built to last. The Griadio Vintage Bluetooth radio brings you the warmth of golden age design with all the clarity of modern sound. Handsome walnut cabinet, rich, full tone, connects to your telephone or any wireless device. Visit Griadio through the link in our description. The Griadio Vintage Wireless, built for the voice, built for the age. And now, from the home front, here is Dorothy Wilson.
Well, good evening, ladies, and a blessed Passover to our Jewish listeners tonight. I hope your tables are full and your hearts are light. Now, for those of us in the middle of Holy Week, we are heading into the home stretch before Easter, and I know every one of you is already thinking about what to serve on Sunday, but that is Sunday's problem. Tonight's problem is Wednesday's supper, and I have got you covered. This is my one-pot chicken and rice, and it is just about the easiest hot meal you will ever put on a table. Here is what you need: 4 chicken drumsticks, 1 cup of long-grain white rice, uncooked, 1 small onion, diced, 2 cloves of garlic, chopped, 1 can of chicken broth, the 14-ounce size, 1 cup of water, a teaspoon of dried Italian seasoning or whatever herbs you have in the cupboard, salt, pepper, and a tablespoon of butter or oil. Now, season the drumsticks with salt, pepper, and the herbs. Heat the butter in a deep skillet or Dutch oven over medium-high heat and brown the chicken on all sides. You are not cooking it through, just getting that golden color. Takes about 5 minutes. Take the chicken out and set it aside. Toss the onion and garlic into the same pan and cook them for 2 or 3 minutes until they soften. Pour in the rice and stir it around for 1 minute. Add the broth and the water. Give it a good stir and scrape up anything stuck to the bottom of the pan. That is flavor, ladies. Do not leave it behind. Lay the chicken pieces right on top of the rice. Bring it all to a boil, then put the lid on and turn the heat to low. Let it cook for 25 minutes. Do not lift that lid. When the time is up, the rice will have soaked up all the liquid, the chicken will be cooked through and falling off the bone, and you will have a one-pot supper that looks like you spent all afternoon on it. $5, 30 minutes, 1 pot to wash. Serve it with whatever is in the icebox. A salad if you have one, bread if you do not. And if someone at the table says thank you, you just smile and say you are welcome. Good night and God bless.